Okay. Oh wait, no, just.
Well, on the theme of displacement, we just kind of decided to, I guess, like listen to your guys' ideas and then kind of see where we could go from here. Because I guess, um, how do you feel like collaboration is? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think we should have like San Diego production and music production, and we can have like a podcast or two opinions. So we can have for example, so first we have to find the big topic for the film. Maybe like we want to try what is the San Diego and what is considered in Japan and why we can come up with the problem.
Yeah, we were thinking along the same lines. Since we normally have a lot of people on both sides, and with a lot of different specializations, that if we choose something that's kind of very concrete, and then everyone kind of makes like small groups and gather material, and then we kind of work your guys' material and our material together in that kind of way as a group. And so that's the kind of group effort, is kind of deciding how to put all that together. That's kind of how we were thinking so far.
Yeah, I agree. We can kind of divide all of on both sides, production and like the post-production. I think we can have people who actually go out and finish it, and people who assemble it. So I think we'll be just the majority of the collaboration in that respect. All the materials. What are your thoughts?
Just let me know. I was kind of interested in like what about displacement are you guys like? What's most interesting about displacement for you guys? Like for each of you, what interests you like in that regards? Like maybe it's like the job hunting, or maybe it's immigrating to another country, or maybe it's something that's a little bit doesn't quite have to do with displacement. But like what's the most interesting thing each for you guys? Like do you have any specific ideas or anything?
I don't know, I guess the majority of our team is people who come from other countries, experience displacement to a certain extent. And I think we all have stories that we can tell.
Okay.
So maybe just from the fact of like studying and living in a different country and the different experiences we face on like the daily level.
So like I think that's really interesting. Because I mean I've only traveled to a country once, but so was it like the kind of like a culture shock, or like language barriers, or I don't like you can tell stories if you want.
A little bit of all of that too, we got our Japanese people over there, but I think there's something about just the Japanese mentality. I can't really put my finger on it, but from what I hear, that it can be difficult to be a foreigner in Japan. Even more than maybe other countries. I don't know. I've never lived in a country other than the U.S. and here, but I do. It's more difficult here. Maybe we can kind of look into that stuff too. I don't know.
So you feel like there's, or I don't know if you feel, but you said you've heard that there's kind of like a people sneaking around. Do you feel like there's kind of like a general, what's the word? Like it's people already have a negative kind of look on foreigners. I believe I've heard that too here from Japanese students coming here, saying that if you try and go there, like people already kind of look at you and like kind of ignore you, or like there's kind of like a negative kind of association with you already.
I don't think it's negative. I don't think that Japan is a really homogeneous culture. 99% of the so they don't just have experience, you know? Like, every foreigner, they see it on TV or in the movies. And so they see, you know, in reality, they don't know how to react. You know, they think every foreigner can't speak Japanese. They think Japanese is the hardest language. And just like, when you see someone for the first time, they're just kind of like, you know,
but then also through the media stuff, you go to stores or you're watching television, you see advertisements, people modeling the clothes are foreigners, you know. I go to the gym and they got these pictures of white people working out on the walls. It's really weird.
That is really weird. So there's.
I'm Japanese, but like but I think there is one. To be honest. Oh no. So it's just a Japanese people don't speak English, and I just don't understand why. It's probably a really bad education, to be honest. Not education. And that's why it makes it. Although it doesn't have it is a really nice city, you know, and it's like developed and everything. But it's just that I think people are not close to. It really could depend. With our school, I don't think there's any like that much of a problem in English, and it's like a lot of the college. But then I guess if you put some of the global schools in that.
We're gonna have to make a request because it's still very hard for anyone besides Devin, or for us to hear anyone besides Devin, Wayne, and I'm sorry for your Anissa. So maybe if you try to move next to Devin. I hate like telling you guys where to move. We're like having it's like I want to hear what you're saying. I'm really interested, but we can't hear you very well.
So the idea of a video postcard, like if we're talking about learning about each other's cultures, we could send you guys could send each other little kind of vignettes of here and you can create dialogue back and forth with each other.
You said postcards?
Like video postcards, little video postcards back and forth to each other. So then what we're offering at the end is like a collection of these.
Go ahead.
Tracy was kind of had this idea, or she was kind of interpreting how we're kind of talking like video postcards and like sending each other little short video snippets of kind of like things about our culture, like specific things, like maybe day-to-day things or things that are very important to us or stuff like that. That's kind of interesting, yeah, because I'm really interested to know how life is there, and I think that's kind of the main thing we're kind of going for. Try to find similarities between what you guys do and what we do, and just I think that's the displacement thing, is trying to find common struggle. So you're saying there are a lot of the ads on TV and stuff, you said a lot of foreigners model that. That's really interesting that
yeah,
there's
like stuff inside the clothing stores and any magazine you look at only has foreigners. And I went to Tokyo Fashion Week. You know, it's like the same one as New York Fashion Week in Paris. But none of the models are walking on the runway, even though they're Japanese. They were all, you know, like East European, tall, blue eyes, blonde hair. And like the Japanese consumers can't relate to this.
So there's kind of this ideal that they kind of want to look like that, but they don't know how to kind of engage with those people when they're in the country, or
yeah, like the standard of beauty is still Eastern, Western. because they have like skin bleaching creams and all sorts of things to make you look like not like less Asian, but you can like get your eyes done to kind of look more Western, and that stuff is like pretty modern, right? Like any like especially in Korea.
I feel like that's an interesting thing, like television and advertising, because I'm in this sociology class and we're talking about how influential TV is for students coming here, international students coming here, and trying to kind of having the struggle of, from their pressure from their parents to hold their own culture, but also wanting to assimilate. And they learn a lot from watching TV and television shows and looking at advertisements, and they get it. And it's kind of a skewed perspective of what American life is, because a lot of the television that shows and stuff that run America are like upper middle class, or kind of just upper class white individuals. And the whole country isn't like that. It's like 1 in 5 people in the United States have immigrated here. Some crazy number. Like we're a very diverse country, but the only thing that's being shown on television is like this very specific set demographic in our society.
Girls, living in the beach, the hills.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of embarrassing.
At least Jersey's short.
Yeah, no, it is.
But I think aside from non-speaking movies, there are actually white people. When it comes to actual acting or being in a TV show, for anyone who's more than like an extra, there are like they're only something to kind of look at, not interact with.
There's one show in Tokyo MX.
Oh yeah, my friends will do it.
The
Go to New
okay. Here's the presenter.
Oh really?
Because he introduced any blindness
and one of my friends is from that show. Like there's this local TV. I'm just thinking here.
Oh no, yeah, you were good. I just couldn't hear Anissa there when she was telling her little anecdote.
But there is there's maybe 4 or 5 like national broadcasting companies in Tokyo, but there's one local TV show that does have foreigners on it, and it's like a news show. Huge house. Tokyo MX.
Never watched it. Okay.
No one knows it. Every week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, each has a different foreign correspondent or whatever. And so, like I think it's America, Canada, Australia, and then 2 other countries, Chile. But they give the Japanese news and introduce places in Japan, and they talk a little about what's happening in their country, so they get a more world perspective. And I think it's really good because it's the only outlet that foreigners are kind of as educated. They're not just like standing there showing but they're also delivering. But with the local channel, it only reaches like the Tokyo area, and it's still not that well pop like Lloyd and TV.
I don't know it.
So it's like there's actually things that are showing, but they're not well known.
I don't know. Okay, so as far as I guess television, are there anything? Because that's kind of one topic we could pursue, and that's really interesting. Is there anything else as far as displacement that I forget who mentioned that, but anything else you guys? What else are you guys interested in as far as that theme goes?
What about your side?
On our side, what's interesting for us, huh? I don't know. What do you guys? What far as like displacement?
Well, we are on the border. I'm Nick, by the way. We are on the border between United States and Mexico. It's a really busy border. There's a huge disparity of wealth, between people in San Diego versus Tijuana. That's an interesting issue, but it's also been addressed a lot by artists. So, I mean, we can deal with that, but we need to recognize and probably research like what's already been done in that relationship. So it's somewhere we can go, and a topic that people kind of brought up last week, but I think that it requires a closer look on our part to see what we can bring that's new or that really can apply to this collaboration.
Yeah. When you said artists, what kind of artists are you talking about? For example,
a ton of faculty and grad students, probably undergrads too, have worked with the idea here. I know it's really popular here at this school, probably in other universities in San Diego too. So it might just be a local thing, but I know I've heard a lot of different projects that work with the idea. And specifically, like two of our professors that I've taken have done like years of work with the topic. So, and it's interesting, and there's a lot of ways to go at it too. So we can definitely integrate it.
I still think there's some value in including in the collaboration because you're going to be introducing the problem to a new audience. Like I don't think anyone in Japan even knows what your water is.
Except for people who want those.
And so I think, getting that issue out, getting like the time left.
That is a good point. Like a lot of students here have heard a lot about it, and maybe we're tired of it. But that doesn't mean, anywhere else in the United States or the world really has very good awareness. So yeah, that's a good point.
And I guess what else about this?
Well, first of all, I don't know the difference of like San Diego and LA and like Cali and like they can't even distinguish like parts of areas in the state. They might know New York and California, but that's probably it. To be honest. Kira?
Yeah. And I think the same applies to Japan. Like
Yeah.
the kind of we don't know to understand the region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same applies to. What's that?
Like it's probably the same how like well the Western people can't distinguish like Taiwan.
Everyone just thinks
Asia. Yeah, Asia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like specific things that are interesting. So, like this general topic of displacement. Can you guys?
it's on. I turned it on.
Oh, sorry. I was just explaining to Nick what we're kind of doing. Yeah, so we're showing what specifically is interesting. Like, okay, we're all kind of on board for displacement, but what specifically is interesting to like you or me or Angeli. I'll get it. There's a lot of new names. No, I think that is a very valid point. That's especially when you're not around like a different culture very much. You can't distinguish as well as if you were living in that culture. Like I'm sure there are very big regional differences in Japan itself. Because from Japanese students I've heard that does exist, and that also exists here in California, that there are very regional differences. I think it'd be interesting to get people from different regions. I don't know if that's a possibility, and then having them describe things that are very specific. So kind of showing that there is these very specific differences, but that maybe there's some kind of connection we can make between all those.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about, displacement, you also have to think about assimilation, because there are a lot of people at our school who are from regional areas of Japan, but when you're here, you wouldn't know. They assimilate to the culture. They change the way they talk and those types of things.
Like accent.
Yeah.
Right.
So it seems like, I mean, this is very obvious, but it's like wherever you go, you want to fit in. You want to be a part of whatever community you're in. You don't want to be an outsider.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of wrong. Like, Tokyo is kind of like the America of Japan. There's so many different types of people here, in this city specifically, that there should be a spot for everyone without having to change. But I think the people who come from the regions don't really realize that. And so they more than others try and act like this normal that doesn't really exist. That's how I feel though.
I don't know, I think it depends on what community you join and with. Like, I mean, for example, our school's pretty international, so I'm pretty sure it's different with like the public other have. Also for my, I don't know, I went abroad and international school, yeah, forever. Like, I don't know. All the environment is really different for them. I guess you just have to find like a community yourself. I think it's the same thing though. Like, because we have semesters, like 2 semesters, like April and September. And September is for like all these, and April is for all the terms. But then we end up like classes together, doing projects together. And there's like Japanese basically like no English at all. But then we just have to somehow communicate with them. And like same as like Anissa and they're all like taking in September. They're like international students, whereas Devin is in April. So I think it's really like how you bond is.
Yeah, that happens a lot here. We do have a lot of international students, and a lot of times well, at least for visual arts, because we have smaller classes, so you do get in group projects of like 3 or 4 people, and there are people that don't have a grasp on English yet, a good grasp, and a lot of times it's very difficult for both parties to try and kind of understand each other and like kind of be able to contribute and feel like there's some kind of collaborative effort going on. So I think language is a big barrier. But like we were saying, how there's this kind of pressure to you want to fit in, but like that's it seems wrong, because obviously the different, if we're all the same, that's boring as hell. So I think all these different communities we come from, and being able to share like our different experiences, and then finding common ground that way, as opposed to like trying to all change to like some impossible ideal, is ridiculous.
I think it's easy to say that it's ridiculous though, but that's still kind of the idea.
Yeah.
Like, especially now that everyone's shoplifting, you'll see every single person in like a black suit. There's no like gray, navy, or any kind of differentiation. And even on that level, people just want everyone to be the same. But you would think, like, if for a job, you'd want to show what's special about you, what makes you different.
The religion in Japan, like, when we start, like, you want to be zero. Like, that. Like you can have like the I don't know. Yeah, the makeup is no idea what the role.
Did you guys?
But I think that applies.
I don't know. We got a few more people. If you know, stepped in and describe what we're doing. Yeah, so we have Brian behind me here, and Monica there in the back.
So as far as like the general theme of the general theme of the space, like what specifically is interesting to you about that, like here, or like maybe it doesn't quite have to do with displacement, but just what would you be interested in? What kind of contribution would you be interested in making as far as like, the general theme?
I think like before when we were talking about like international students.
You want to
I don't know if you remember when we were like international students have like a weird transition or like different cultures like Mexican Americans or something, how like they're raised with a certain culture but they're raised in a different environment. I think that could be interesting, and it would be also fun people like to find people. And I'm sure they have. I mean, look at all of them; they're all so diverse as well.
Yeah,
No, wait, what is?
That's when you're like taking it, like,
We're running the JTK project, we're not doing.
Oh, this is weird.
As well, because of audio issues that we have.
Are we that clear to them?
well, this, I think that they
That's so
see
creepy.
that.
I'm still getting a haircut pretty quick.
Maybe a shave.
Oh, they're also saying starting at 6:30 to 8 now.
Yeah.
8 o'clock still.
I mean, if we finish earlier, fine,
Yeah.
but we'll just pencil by timing, so we'll just start it out half an hour later.
When was that talk?
Did you guys turn off your mic at all?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we like kind of ignoring each other for a second.
we just have this.
Can you hear that?
No. If I don't know if we can move up or like I don't know. Scoot over.
No, but yeah, like we discussed about like what is displacement for us, like personally. So maybe we can come up with something.
Even if it's a word, even if it's something, incident or something close to, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to tell personal stories. I think that's really important.
I agree.
From your side and from our side, and see how it, at some level, there's some kind of connection or, how there's some similarity and there's some differences. So I guess we have to go back to what do we understand by displacement?
Or have you ever experienced it yourself?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about big issues like
Immigration and...
Yeah, I mean, those are really big issues. But what does it really mean to you guys? How does it really affect you?
Yeah, I think the things that stick out the most are the kind of the day-to-day things, the things you have to deal with every day. Are those very personal stories, those things that you can't get rid of. I don't know if anyone here has any stories to share or.
So this one time. I was born in the Philippines. Yeah, I was born in the Philippines, and I lived there for like 9 years, and then I moved here to California, and like there's like it's so different from like there, because back there it's like a third world country, and then you have to like pump water out of the ground to get water, and here it's all like it's pretty much people take it for granted, like because it's all available for you and it's everything's in excess. So like yeah, I think like telling our own personal like displacement stories, and then stitching them all together is a really good idea.
Yeah, that's actually good because right now we all are
ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also like once a few interviews are done, we'll find like a common thing within them. But I was like talking to them before is that like a lot of international students or people who are raised with certain cultural morals, like from another country, but raised in a different environment, they have to decide for themselves, like what are you going to take from your motherland, and what are you going to take from your new environment, and it's really like personal, and a lot of people like you'll have knowledge of something, but it's if you acknowledge it or not.
Yeah.
I think it's all a struggle that we have. I don't think there's a real solution, right in front of us. We know that we have to change ourselves a little bit in order to fit within the community here. But it's a little bit of a struggle because
being true to yourself.
Yeah, I'm so used to being that way, So that's always that struggle that we have. How do I join this community? What do I have to give up? What do I take? Like you were saying just now. So that's I think if that can come out from whatever we are trying to do, I think that's really good.
Oh yeah, so if you see us like jump or like look over our shoulders really quickly, it's not because we have ghosts, it's because we have audio issues. We're still trying to sort it out, but we can hear you mostly now.
And we have Tourette's.
And we have Tourette's, I guess.
Sorry, if anyone has Tourette's.
Hopefully, no Tourette's. I don't know. I think, so being, like obviously I'm on kind of the other side of this, where people are trying to assimilate to what they see as my culture, or like I was born and raised here in California, in Northern California, which is different from Southern California. There's a big, battle between North and South California. No, it's not that big, but
Northern California is way better.
She says NorCal is better, but yeah, most people from NorCal will say NorCal is better, but I say SoCal is better, so I'm kind of like an outcast.
Japan's better.
Yes. So I think we do.
Born in Monterey. I love the NorCal side.
So I think getting our perspective could be interesting too, because there are going to be a lot of people who can relate to these stories of displacement, but then also there are going to be people on the other side saying, well, okay, yeah. So I think it'd be interesting to get kind of our perspective. And I know for me, I want to be able to like have a conversation with people from different cultures, and I want to get to know them. That's the most interesting, because I'm sick of people that people like me. I want to get to know this is why I'm here. I'm very interested in finding out what you guys do and why you guys do what you do. So I'm not sure if all the people from my culture have that kind of view, then we wouldn't be having this problem. But I think it'd be interesting to get some of the other perspective, and at least I feel like I should share that. If there are people on both sides that are trying to find some kind of connection and trying to find some middle ground, then, well, we should be working harder at this or something. I don't know. I guess there's probably other people in our group that could give their opinions on that too.
So, no. I'm off the mic tonight. Talk about how this could perhaps translate, like if we were to set maybe a draft assignment for next week, how could...
Get back to me. The wheels are turning. They're spinning.
No, yeah, I completely agree, because I think there's a lot of... Oh my god, it's so loud over there.
You can hear it over there.
Wayne's perspective, he's from
Wayne, right? Green hat guy?
Yes.
You're from...
Georgia.
Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Right. I think your perspective would be very interesting because it's like, well, I mean, because a lot of the audience on our side is kind of has your perspective, but you're in that culture now, so you're dealing maybe possibly with things that these other people are dealing with. That, I mean, I'm not articulating very well, but do you understand kind of what I'm thinking?
Right.
Yeah, you're going through the same experience, but an American point of view.
Yes. Right.
And Devin.
For my perspective, like I was born in California, but then from a young age I moved to Japan. So I lived here until I was like elementary school age, and then went back to Florida, and then came back here. So I've been living my life kind of in two countries, and like I feel like I'm a part of both of them, you know? And like America is like a melding pot of people, and I'm fine there. But Japan, like no matter how much personal feeling I have towards the country, it's kind of like not reciprocated, you know. Like even though I've been here for so long and I have so much history and memories, I'm just treated like another foreigner. And so, like, it's kind of hard to feel where you belong. And that's kind of something I go through with on like a daily basis, you know. Like I've lived here for so long, I have, so many connections. But anyone who sees me, wherever I go, they just look at me and think, oh, it's like someone on vacation. Like someone who can't speak Japanese.
Can you speak Japanese?
Yeah, I mean, all of my questions are.
I think if you said that in Japanese, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I think if you said that story in Japanese, and maybe even more specific, that would be really amazing.
That's what I was
Yeah, I have to say all the time that this is on three, but
yeah.
Exactly the way. These are really great, having coming from a country where almost every other person is a foreigner and you're accepted and that's a way of life. Then you come here and you see so many foreigners, and they can speak the language really well and feel so out of place. That I think it's a really good story to tell, and juxtaposed with what you guys are going through, Josh, how you want to relate to students who are there, but there's some form of frustration because, there's only so much you can engage, So I think this really sounds good.
And I think it's like really accessible for both our groups because the majority of us are all from different places, but in different places. Like, or at least
Slightly.
have.
At least slightly.
So how do you feel
Our
about
group's
telling
pretty-
personal stories? So you're comfortable doing that? That's the kind of
Yeah.
I guess so. I don't currently feel displaced at all. I've lived in San Diego for 4.5 years, and
I feel so displaced. I hate speaking English.
So do I. I'm going to speak Australian.
Wait, what other language do you speak?
German and a little French.
Oh.
Duh, look at me. Yeah.
So wait, since you have some experience with multi cultures, like, do you think this is interesting? Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like?
We're interviewing.
Well, sir, I do find this interesting. However, I think that it needs to be addressed properly formally to be interesting. Otherwise, it's kind of something that can just drag on.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I think it could get kind of dry if we don't do it right.
So how do we do it right?
You know what we should also do? I think we should all be friends. I will create a Facebook group and have a discussion there, talk about our lives, and then put it together next time on.
Yeah. It's actually really good.
Involves social media.
Yeah, social media, social network.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're saying, yeah, I think that's a really good idea. We're on board with that. Yeah, so I guess, go ahead. Yeah, so I think just the idea of very personal stories of kind of what we're dealing with is kind of where we're heading. And we're just saying, like Monica was saying, how to address that formally. Like, do we have any ideas as far as maybe kind of how we're going to put this together, or is it going to be like interview style, or any kind of ideas as far as how this is going to be done, I guess?
Oh, yeah. Since it won't be in 4K, we are going to make this on HD. If it's a documentary film, so we can make it longer. Like the previous documentary film is only 10 minutes, so maybe we can increase it to 15 minutes, for example. And we can have, at starting, we can have like interview, and you can record it, and we can select from like, we have to define the questions and what we want to know, and who to be interviewed, and then we can have the interview and then try to select whose answer will be covering all the answers, and try to find the findings, and who knows, we can have the final result or the real answer of this displacement issue.
So are we looking to follow like one? So are we looking to follow one person on your side and one person on this side, and like kind of track their story of like what they're going through, either looking for work and the transition from school to applying for work and their daily life, and someone similar on the other side with their transition from school, their daily life.
I think we've shifted to personal stories.
For all of them. It's like, I like within 10 to 15 minutes, like there's, right now sitting down, 5 of us, if we all told a personal story, it would only be like a minute long on this side for each of our stories, and like a minute long on your side for each one of our stories. And I don't think that a minute long would be enough to really justify a story for each person, like to really get to know any kind of attitude, adjustment, struggle, or achievements within 60 seconds for each person. So it seems like it would get too rushed, and it would just be constantly.
We can chop it up and like find similarities.
Like, because this is growing documentary, we don't have to have the conclusion. We can have, like, for example, this part is only describing what is the displacement, and then we can have another, for example, for the next plan project, we can have another film about just one person daily life, for example. For the first film, I think we can have maybe 2 from both sides. I mean, from the for example, from our side, from the Japanese, how they see the foreigners, for example, or the other person is from the foreigners who live in Japan, for example, like Devon, or like main perspective of displacement, and also from your side. So we can like
2 people on each side, like
for the first film we can have like the problem.
Different iterations.
I think that'll come all like formally though. Like once we have it and we find similarities within them, it'll like we can collaborate through cuts and everything. I don't mean to be rude. We have a visiting artist, so I'm going to that right now. It was nice to see you guys, and I'll see you again Tuesday.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, we can talk via or Facebook.
So, oh no, that's just Monica leaving. We're still here though. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. A lot of people want to go. Okay.
I'll hang out a little bit.
I have one thing that jumped out. I was thinking about when you guys were talking about that. It's really good. At least save my thought. I was thinking, because we're trying to find these connections between these two sides, and I think it'd be interesting if we start the video off where people are talking, telling their stories, but you don't know where they're from. So you don't know what kind of side of the ocean they're on, or like you don't know what country they're speaking from. So like Wayne telling a story cut into a Monica and then someone else from your side, like, and starting off that way. And so these people telling me stories of how they're trying to assimilate to some culture and not kind of really giving away where they are, and then kind of building into that and and then revealing, you know, where this is happening. So kind of drawing all of you guys together, that you're all having this struggle in different places. And so kind of blurring that line.
I think that if we just get a bunch of people together and we just get some nice footage, a good interview, and we just sort of let we're not trying to, I think at this point, we don't really want to push the story in any particular direction. I think that it's just going to naturally happen. I think as a growing documentary part, we can look beyond having just 1 or 2 or 3 interviews. Just get a handful of interviews. Some of them are going to be better than others, and we can just kind of grow with that. And I think once we have a really nice interview, then from there we can take, we'll see the patterns, and then we can figure out how we can place it together in like a edited video or what kind of direction we want to take it from there. I mean, that's just what I think. I think we need to just focus on having just a really good interview and something that's natural and something that's not, we're not trying to force the direction, but we're just trying to understand the person, because the story is there. You have to uncover it. You don't have to make it. We're not trying to create the story. We're uncovering the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
I think we still have some kind of like a simple series of questions that we ask everyone.
Yes, I agree.
So that we can kind of like very open-ended, but still so everyone kind of starts from a similar point. So you can have, you know, comparable cuts.
Yeah, very good idea.
Deadlines for those sorts of things?
Yeah, Tracy was saying, do we want to set deadlines for getting these interviews by? Or, well, we need to come up with, I guess, a group of questions that we're all going to ask. And then also when we want to have all the footage by, I guess.
Yeah, when you want to start the interviews.
And yeah, when we want to start the interviews, when we want to have all the footage by so we can start editing and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I think that we should probably, maybe over this weekend, if you guys have time, you know, kind of come up with a very simple list of things that you want to ask people. Because, you know, we don't have that much time. So maybe if we can get, you know, a list of questions done by this weekend, by the next time we meet on, I think, Tuesday for you guys, we can kind of go over what we think, what we want to ask. You know, of course, we can train them beforehand on Facebook or on the Google group, and then kind of discuss where we want to go with these questions, you know, what we're hoping to get. And then I think as soon as we all have questions decided, we can just start filming.
Yeah, I think the best deadline is on the 15th. We already have at least some footage to edit. So by 15th, we can start to edit. If you still have people you want to interview, you can still do it, but the editing should be started on the 15th, I think.
Which is the 14th.
Yeah. 29th is our deadline, is that what it is?
29th.
29th? Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. I think if we do collect, via the website or Facebook, kind of gather a group of questions, and then so we can start interviewing next week, and yeah, start editing by the 14th, which is not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday after. Yeah, so that'll give us a week.
So, I mean, by then they'll have the Optiportal up, so you'll
And Tracy's saying, by then we'll have the Opta portal up, so we'll be able to exchange footage and be able to edit that way. Yeah.
They need it.
Oh, they will. Oh, we already have ours. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're getting staged. They're bringing it in today after the meeting.
Oh, great. Yay!
So we should be up and running.
So, just so you know,
So we're...
Anissa and Moe are experts in the world, so you can trade tricks.
Are we...
So where is the collaboration? How are we just looking to edit this together? The on vector conference or presentation, or are we looking to do like a live demo thing, or are you just going to have a video to produce?
Hi, I'll answer that for you. So we actually have we have an hour which includes question and answers set aside for us for on vector. So they're expecting some sort of live performance, and we know how good Anissa and Moe are. They're like demons on the wall. So we need to get up to speed our end too, and hopefully